right, New York Knicks fans, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Knicks sports talk and entertainment. We're going to churn out some Knicks videos. Why? I actually enjoy talking about the Knicks. I forgot how much I enjoy talking about the Knicks and doing Knicks videos. Did them for a little bit in the playoffs, did them before the playoffs. They're fun. Like I said, I've been a Knicks fan just as long as I've been a Giant fan since '76. So I've seen it all. I've seen the good. I've seen the bad. Take them all. There you had the facts of life. You know what? Okay, Taj Gibson also re-signs with the Knicks. Good pickup. The issue with the Knicks is always still going to be the point guard situation. I know we're going to say, well, we drafted the young point guard, and we have Derrick Rose coming back, and Derrick Rose was our star of our playoffs, people were telling me. Yeah, I don't think everyone remembers Game 5. They remember the 30-point game, the 26-point game. And I love one person tell me, well, without Derrick Rose, we wouldn't have won a playoff. We wouldn't have that playoff win. I would rather have I thought the goal was always to win a series, not 1 out of 5. And I don't fault the Knicks because I always thought Atlanta was a good team. I always didn't think Atlanta was better than the Knicks, but I know that Knicks were undefeated against the Hawks in the regular season. But Trae Young went out that one game with injury. I think the Knicks would have lost. You know, and also the playoffs are a different beast than the regular season. All true basketball fans know that. Derrick Rose, why he is a interesting option. The viability of him being a full-time starter for this team going into next season is slight. You got to just look at his stats. You got to just look at the games that he's played. You got to look at the minutes he's been logging. It's not like the guy's already 30. The guy's 32 years old. You know, in 2021, of course, he played a total of 50 games and 50 games. You know, he played 26 games, 64 games, 9 games, 51 games. And that's going back to Chicago. He played 64 to 64 and 17 again with the Knicks. Then the next year he played 25, then 16, then 9, then 51, then 50, then 50 again. And he was only playing 26 minutes a night. This year he played 26.8 minutes a night. I was one of the few YouTubers that when they traded for Rose, I was one of the few YouTubers that actually did a show saying that how much I liked that trade. Because I thought Peyton was a quality point guard in regards to the sense that he was more of a 3-and-D guy, but he was way too sporadic and he didn't attack the basket. That Rose was going to give them for the short term, for that 35 games, which he only started 3, was going to give him that ability off the bench. And the pairing with Rose and Quickly was going to be, in my mind, was going to be dangerous. So yeah, we drafted a young point guard, but we don't know what we're going to get. Yeah, I'm still not sure Quickly is a point guard. I still think next season's going to rely on our point guard play, kind of like this season did. Now the name out there always is Collin Sexton for everyone. He's a polarizing figure, 23 years old, rising star in the game, average 24.3, field goal percentage of 47.5, nudging his way onto the All-Star conversation. Promising strides as a secondary playmaker. He averaged 4.4 assists, then boosting that to 6.1 during his name's Darian Garland's season absence, his late season absence last year. You know, there was some silly chatter among his teammates that he didn't know how to play the game 2 years back, but he's only 22 years old. He's a guy that they say is a relentless. And I want to give you a reason. One thing I want to do is I want to do reasons why the trade would work and the trade wouldn't work for the Knicks going for Collin. Everyone says that he's a great kid, that he's a hard worker, that he's tenacious and he's like a sponge, and that he can become a number one scoring option with defenses truly focusing in on him. Is he Trae Young? No. Look at that. That music came in way or too early there. I don't know why the music came in too early there. Is he Trae Young? No. He's not going to be Trae Young because Trae Young's on a different level. Is he a true point guard? I'm not going to say he is. And the Cavaliers front office kind of made that admission a few years back by taking Garland with the 5th pick in 19. He's an undersized shooting guard. He has clear defensive limitations that are more exposed in certain times, in certain areas. At 6'1", 190 pounds, he kind of lacks the size and strength to, or length to bother people on the wing. Effort is never an issue with them, though. Effort is never an issue. And that's what you need to look at with him. Would he be an upgrade for the Knicks at the point guard situation? I think he would. I think with his limitations, if you pair him with Rose and you start him as the point guard situation, and then you let Rose back him up and mentor him, I still think it's I still think it's a good option. I think it's a really good option. Now, the Knicks, of course, have been trying to get Sexton, Sexton's been on his radar. So it's interesting. So, I mean, he's also a CAA client, which is what, of course, Leon Rose, the agency he ran. So there's always that connection. Now, the Cavs have always been interested in R.J. Barrett, especially even ahead of the 2019 draft. They even tried trading up a few spots to get him. Now, I would still say Barrett is untouchable. But he might have to be a potential trade piece or a center of the trade piece if they go hunting after Collin. But I wouldn't do it. I would never give up on RJ Barrett. Never. Now, Obi Toppin is a player that Cleveland considered at 5. But they, he doesn't really make a lot of sense for the team right now that already has $40 million invested in Larry Nance Jr. and Kevin Love. Now, the Knicks, still have some first rounders. You could throw in Knox. I mean, if you're looking for a true move, it's probably going to have to involve Barrett. But like I said, I'm not doing that. And also, if you look at it from the Cleveland perspective, if you trade Barrett for Sexton, you're kind of just making a lateral move. You're not really making your team better. And then you have to look at the fact that, honestly, if you look at the situation contractual wise, the Knicks do not have the flexibility right now with their salary cap because of the contracts that they've given out. I believe next year they are still going to have about $30 million available. Now, the good news is this year, of course, Collin is still under his rookie contract. You're going to have to pay him because you're not going to trade for him and not pay him. I mean, it just wouldn't make sense. Let's trade for this guy and let's not give him a contract extension. He's going to want a max extension. If he's anywhere near where he was last year, he's going to want a max. He'll have a qualifying offer of $8.5 million next year with a cap hold of 19. He's only on the books for the base salary of six and change. So this year it would be an easy fit for the Knicks. It would be going into next year that would cause an issue. Like I said, I think from the Knicks perspective, it would make from the Knicks perspective, if you want to stay young and not trade your nucleus of Randall, Barrett, Quickly, Robinson, and you want to keep the band together. I think I think trading someone like Obi Toppin, Kevin Knox, a couple first rounders and a second rounder. I think that would probably do it for the Cavaliers, because while he's an unrestricted free agent, I don't think they're going to pay the big bucks to keep him. To keep him for next season. I still think they're going to try to move him. Now, the biggest issue, of course, that we're going to run into is Julius Randle's contract next year. Randle's on the final year of a $19 million contract. Or excuse me, $19 million this year, or a total cap figure of 21 something, I think it was. So he's going to have to we're going to have to figure out something with that. We're going to have to sign Randle. I mean, unless Randle tanks this year and becomes an albatross and doesn't get anywhere for the Knicks, you're going to re-sign him. I always thought it was funny, and I laughed because when we were talking about the Knicks in the beginning of the season, we were saying that the 26-year-old Randle didn't fit into the plans because he didn't fit in the mold of a young player. He's 26 years old. Now, I know a lot of people will say, well, we also have Luka we're bringing in. Yeah, well, we don't know what anyone's going to be yet. If I can get Collin, I would probably do it, unless I'm giving up RJ. Give up the first rounders. We've picked enough guys up, and we have a young enough nucleus that I'm not too worried about. I am worried about 2022 with Julius Randle becoming an unrestricted free agent. But like I said, these are the reasons why the Knicks should and should not consider this trade. And again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Knicks sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could like, maybe subscribe, ring the bell, you know what I mean? That'd be awesome.